You have to take responsibility of the part you play in your own suffering.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
We all play the largest role in our own suffering because it's what we give our attention to. It's what we consume from. And I'm not just talking about physical food and nutrition. I'm talking about the crap that you listen to, the things that you look at. Our partners are sick of us complaining about the same crap and not taking action because they can't make different decisions for you. And if you find yourself in this death spiral or this loop, if you look up and you're like, oh my God, this one awful thing has happened to me 6 times, you gonna do something different and you're gonna keep on the course. And I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about my girlfriends here, if they're listening. I'm talking about you guys too, right? It's like, how many times can you go through the same cycle, the same loop, learn the same lesson, and keep doing the same thing?
Hello, Embracing Only community. This is Olivia and Archita on the Embracing Only. We're back. It's 2025, our first episode, and we are excited to kick it off with my lovely dear friend, Olivia. I really wish we lived closer, Olivia, so we could do this in person.
Same. But I think we continue to prove that remote relationships are absolutely possible if you invest in them. So I'm loving our partnership, but yes, wish we were closer. And oh my gosh, Archita, how much stuff did we go through in 2024? 2024 was quite the year. And I think both of us have made some pretty significant progress in terms of mindset, in terms of changes, in terms of how we view our own emotional and mental health and how we want to serve our communities. And I'm just so excited to share with our audience today.
Yes, I did a little post-mortem, and I know we've shared this with our listeners. I think both of us don't carry this whole belief on new year, new me. It's a consistent and constant process that we engage with. And for me, I look at my year birthday to birthday. So it's like July to July every year. Those are the goals I set for myself because it takes the pressure off with everyone just going delulu. That's the new Gen Z word. At the end of the year with all these goals and this and that. And it actually is extremely liberating. And it's lucky because I'm in the middle of July. And so I was doing a little postmortem, and I do this every 6 to 8 weeks. I go back and like all of my goals, I make these annotations. So it's not a beautiful planner or anything. It's literally an A4 size of paper. I put these like goals in these things of what I wanted to achieve. And then I write what my progress was, next to them. And then I put the date. And so this is like my 3rd or 4th annotation, I don't know, in the 6-month like cycle. And I was looking at it, and there were about 70% of it that I have not even hit. And there are like 30% of the 70% that I'm not even sure how to hit. Okay? I don't even know what I'm going to begin.
What I love about this, Archita, is you're having a good chuckle about not knowing how you're going to hit the goals. The fact that you don't know how to hit it isn't scaring you off from listing the goal anyways. And I think this is really important for our audience to grasp. This activity you're doing is amazing to do as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, right? But even for our corporate girlies, ladies, it is annual review time.
Exactly.
Right? So you should be doing a similar exercise to Archita, looking back over your year. What did you set out in your goals to achieve? Did you achieve them or not? And what are you refocusing on? But most importantly, as we align the direction in our personal lives, it's really important to dream and set those big goals. Even if you don't know how you're going to accomplish them, set them anyways.
Like there are 2 goals on there that are related to the podcast that I'm going to put out there. So the energy of the world is going to make it happen. We are looking to land a sponsor for our podcast, a sponsor that can help bring these stories to more women around the world so we can really share this and help women thrive in their spaces. The second one was I want Bosmo St. John on my podcast desperately because she's owner. And guess what she did? Ladies, this is the crazy thing. This has been a goal, right? So Olivia, I shared a reel of hers from our Embracing Only Instagram. She liked it. I lost my mind. I sent her a DM. I was like, oh my gosh, we're losing it here. Thank you so much. And then send a lot of prayers to her and all of the people in Los Angeles because we're recording the week of Jan 10th. And it's insane. Her entire home, her dream home is completely gone.
Oh,
So,
gosh.
so many others have lost their homes. So sending so many prayers their way. But it's so bizarre, right? I made this goal in July of last year. In sometime October or November, she liked my post. It triggered some action. But then I was sitting here in December and I was like, what do I need to do? And the part here that you mentioned, Olivia, there are 30% of the 70% goals. I have no clue where to begin. I literally have no clue where to begin. But it's bizarre because when I was in corporate, I only put goals that I knew I could exceed expectations in. Okay. And I don't know if there's anyone else over here that's listening, and I'm just being so dramatically honest. I put goals that I knew I could exceed expectations on without a doubt, because I was also managing a team and I didn't want my team to fail like miserably because we put some wildly ridiculous thing out there. But one of the things I think I failed as a leader to do was to put a goal that was out there, to be like, it's okay to fail on this one, and create a space for my team to fail on it, to be like, oh my God, what brilliance would come out of it. Because that is what my learning has been since I left corporate, is taking chances on the most absurd moonshot goals to then discover 80 other different things that I had never considered that enriched my life in ways in which that helped me grow.
So, Archita, you're hitting on something that is certainly a core belief for me.
Tell me.
If you're a corporate girly, corporate is not designed for you to dream. Corporate is designed almost like the prison complex, for you to be a cog in the wheel.
Damn,
for you
God.
to stay in line.
A prison complex. Oh my God.
Yes, it is. It is designed to keep you a worker, right? To keep you an employee, to keep you in line, not coloring outside the lines, so that you make profit for that organization. The corporation's mission is to make money, not to develop you.
No.
That is their mission. As an HR leader, I will tell you, the cost of turnover for talent is one of the biggest levers on the P&L. So you want to keep your people engaged. You want to keep them doing exactly what you want them doing so that they can contribute to the profit for the organization. So of course, they're not going to teach you to dream and set big goals and not be afraid of failure. If they teach you those things, they're teaching you things that are working against their own self-interest. So for any woman listening here, please stop surrendering your power to your organization and realize that you need to be setting goals for yourself. My second point here is that a lot of the women that I coach, right, and this is a big one, refuse or delay or lament the activity to put big, audacious goals on paper because they're afraid that if they fail, they've attached their self-worth to their performance. And if they fail, it's going to feel so bad. It's going to be like, oh my God, I failed. And it's going to send me into depression. Ladies, all failure is a lesson. It's just so you learned one way not to hit your goal. There's an infinite other channels in which you can complete your goal. Stop being afraid of failing and embrace failure as part of the journey. You only truly lose if you don't dust yourself off and try again after you fail over and over again until you get what you want.
Yes, but I want to go back to this thing that you said, because I literally felt chills, and I'll tell you why. I don't think you'd be telling me this 2 years ago. Okay? So that in itself is an evolution, and not for any reason, but the fact that I think the more time we spend in these spaces, and there's no discredit to the space, they're doing what they need to do for their best interest, just as much as you would do what you need to do for your family's best interest. So that's one thing I would not be saying this 2 years ago, because I would be like, yes, you're absolutely right, Olivia, like banging the drums and like cheering. But the reality is that recognizing that corporate is created not to help you dream.
Corporate doesn't want you to dream. Corporate wants you to be a cog in the wheel.
Corporate doesn't want you to dream. If you want to do the dreaming, you have to do the doing outside of your job description, outside of your badge that you check in, check out every day, outside of your Microsoft Teams messaging. No matter what you say, we help save lives. That is amazing. Don't get me wrong. It helps with the paycheck. It helps with being like, okay, I'm putting in all these hours. I'm not helping launch the next big cigarette that is going to kill a bunch of people. That's amazing. But beyond that, what is that impact you want to leave for yourself? Forget the world, forget your family. What is the impact you want to leave for yourself? And what does dreaming look like? Take a white piece of paper and write down, my dream on a white piece of paper and write it down. Let it just flow. Don't self-censor, write it down.
Okay, so I agree with everything that you just said, but I'm going to add an and. If you are having trouble dreaming, I just whipped out my handy dandy deck of psychological cards to help you figure out what that dream is. A lot of us have passions we've forgotten over time. A lot of us have superpowers that we are hesitant to acknowledge. People tell us, oh, you're so good at this. And we're like, oh, no, blah, blah. We're hesitant to acknowledge and embrace our own superpowers, right?
Yes.
And here's the other thing, especially for Black women, we have been told since we were young that it's supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
And at some point, we have embraced this mindset that we're picking the road more difficult because it's supposed to be hard. Ladies, can we stop? Can we stop with the mindset that it's supposed to be hard and instead shift the mindset to there are things that I do very easily. How do I do more of those things? Instead of building resiliency to things that kick you in the face every day, how do I do more of what I do well and do with ease? And that may or may not be within corporate. If your dream is, oh my God, I want to lead a business because I'm an incredible leader. I'm great with numbers. I want to develop these amazing teams and I want to run a business. You could do that in corporate, right? You could become a general manager. You could become a president. You could become a CEO, right? You can absolutely do that within corporate. But back to your point, Archita, you shouldn't be considering your environment as the input to the dream. You dream first, and then you go find the environment that aligns with the dream.
This is such an important point. Ladies, write that down. Do not consider your environment to do your dreaming. Dream first, and then figure out, do I need to go create a new environment? Do I need to go find a new environment? Or can I actually do it within my environment because resources exist, right? A lot of times we lead with the how. This is literally what happened when I decided to leave corporate. I didn't do enough dreaming while I was at corporate because my dreaming was limited. If I were to pull up one of my goals, I bet you 99% of the goals, except for I'd like to lose weight, was the only one that was non-corporate related. But everything else was related to how I can make an impact in that environment. I've shared this with a few people, and I think I'm sharing it with this community for the first time. 10 years ago, while I was pregnant with my son, my oldest, at that time, my husband and I were doing family goal planning. And I was like, what is your biggest goal? And this was me 10 years ago. So pardon me and my absolutely ridiculous questions at that time. But I was like, what's your biggest goal in life? Which is a pretty absurd question in itself. I recognize that now. But that was a question I asked him, right? And his answer to me was, I want to be the best father to my kids. And I literally laughed at him. I don't even literally, I laughed at him. I'm like, seriously?
Stop it. You did not laugh at that man.
I did. I was like, what the heck kind of goal is that? I want to be the vice president. I had like all of these line items, right? But this man's goal was dreaming bigger. He has an amazing dad, but his dad was busy working. So his mom was in a lot of his activities. To him, he was like, I want to be a really great dad. And I do not kid you. It was not up until about a year and a half ago where I finally clicked what and why he chose to dream that big goal. Because it is the hardest thing to do. Showing up every day is a challenge. But he dreamed something that he had no idea how he was going to go after doing it. And he worked towards it. And here my goals were like, check, 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 check. So this is where I would challenge you all, is that truly give yourself permission to dream. I wanted to share 3 things when I speak to a friend or someone I coach. They say things like, you're just so sure. You have a plan in place. It's not about certainty. You need to stop waiting for perfect conditions. Trust your ability to adapt because you have done this over and over again. If you take 1 minute and write down all the conditions that were not perfect when you made changes or big leaps, you'll be surprised how often you have chosen confidence over certainty, but you never called it confidence. You called it like I didn't have a choice, or this was the only thing I thought I could do. So write that down and then check. You have chosen confidence over certainty and you have taken those steps, and do it now.
I love that message. And I have to share this. I had a conversation with someone that I was coaching. The question that I asked her was, if you could take on the personality traits of anyone, who would it be? What personality trait would you take on? And she gave me her answer, and we went on about our coaching thing. Later, I was talking to a friend of mine and I asked that question. And she was like, oh, good question. And she answered me. And then she asked me back. And I stopped to think of it for a second. And you guys don't judge me. Ladies, do not judge me here when I say this. However, what I said was Elon Musk. And I said, hear me out, because I don't actually love them.
I'm ending the episode right now.
Yeah. Oh, hear me
That's
out.
a swear word.
I said Elon Musk's audacity.
Yes, audacity.
Now, here is why I said the audacity, right? Because I wish more of us women would just be audacious. The man, forget him, whether you like him, hate him, just let's put aside personal feelings for a second. You cannot dispute the successes he's had over time and the failures, right? He is the type of person, and yes, he was born with a silver spoon. He had all this money from his dad's emerald mining. Like, yes, he inherited. Okay, let's wipe that off the table for a second. But since he became a business owner and the moves that he's made, his audacity is the reason why he's the richest man right now, why his net worth grew X amount of percentage, because he is so willing to be like, screw it, I'm going to try a thing. And if it fails, I'll dust myself off and I'll do something else. Look at what he's been able to achieve with like SpaceX, with his Skylink program, all of those things. Now, I think the way he treats employees is terrible. I find him to be a bit of a bigot, but the audacity is a common thread in successful people. I just happened to pick someone who is a controversial figure just to make this spicy. But the point is still the same, right? If you're trying to reach a level of success, you have got to get to the point where you're like, you know what? Call it confidence, call it audacity, call it whatever you want, but you are going to try a thing and you are going to disconnect from whoever wants to go nana nana boo boo because you failed. You're going to try it and keep trying it until you reach success. And you are not concerned about other people's opinion as you go along your journey. That I can tell you, as I've been studying people over time that have reached massive levels of success, they all have that one common trait, the audacity. They absolutely all have it.
Yes, audacity is the word I would want you ladies to focus on 100%. And this is the part where I want you to recognize. Today, if you're in a corporate job or you're all out on your own, sometimes we tend to water the weeds. So things that are irritating, we like give it more water because we're just like, oh, someone told me I'm not good enough at this. Or someone told me like, oh, therefore I cannot start something. Or I can't go do this because someone said I'm not good enough for this, or I speak too much, or I do this too much. So we water what I call the weeds a lot, okay? But instead, if you have the audacity to feed your curiosity and not your fears, you will start watering the flowers. And that is where you want to be. We talk about fear so much on this podcast. And I really want you, Olivia, to talk about this amazing space you're creating for women in April to be able to do just this, feed their curiosity to help water their flowers and not water their weeds that drain their energy because someone said so. And right now, the world is continuously telling us why women, DEI, Black women are not good enough and we should not listen to them.
Hi, everyone. My name is Olivia Cream. If you are a corporate girly and you are struggling, you're feeling stuck, maybe you're feeling underpaid, overqualified, you're struggling with your boss, or bigger yet, you're even trying to clearly articulate what it is that you want from your corporate career, I am the coach for you. So if you're ambitious and you've got goals to accomplish and you want to accomplish them quickly, check out my website, oliviacream.com. I would love to help you reach your goals.
Hi, everybody. I'm Archita Fritz, your other host of the Embracing Only podcast. If you're ready to leave corporate or you've changed a couple of corporate jobs and want to start a profitable side brilliance, you've made the decision, but you feel unsure of the next steps, here's how I can help you. I can guide you through a successful transition to entrepreneurship to help turn those ideas into profit. So reach out to me on LinkedIn or visit me on architafritz.com to accelerate your empowered transitions. Now, back to the episode.
Yes. So I can't explain how what you're saying is resonating with me, Archita, because I think even last year, I wrestled with watering my weed. There were so many things that came up. And I think a lot of Black women can probably resonate with this. You pick these fights, you pick these good fights, and you go on these missions, right? And then you hit roadblock after idiot after idiot. And it beats you down to the point where all you can see are the struggles. You're ignoring all of the beautiful things that are happening in your lives as well. And I'm going to go a little woo on you guys here for a second. When you're operating from a space of fear and hate and desperation and aggravation, you are not activating your full capacity of your brain. Your brain is in threat detection mode and it is not being creative, innovative. You're not problem solving to your highest degree. You've shut down half of your brain's function because you're so worried about protecting yourself. So you're truly not performing at your highest level. And from a spiritual perspective, if you're putting out this energy of fear and chaos and people hate me because I'm a woman, because I'm Black, because whatever, guess what you're going to attract? More of that negative crap.
Yeah.
The world's like, oh, you obviously want negativity because you keep putting it out. So I'm going to give you more of it. So instead, to your point, Archita, look at the weeds, be like, the weeds suck, learn the lesson from the weed, and then keep it moving. And focus on the gratitude, focus on the good things. Be like, okay, this didn't work, but these 5 things did. And intentionally divert your attention to the positive things. So it keeps you in a frame of mind that is valuable to you on your journey. Paying attention to the weeds does nothing for you, except for make you feel good to get some pity in the moment. But girl, you got to turn the page. Yeah, turn the page.
It drives you to those binge watching sessions on Netflix because you're just like, it's overwhelmed. I can't take action. I'm exhausted. You created that exhaustion because this is your language, Olivia. You share this so much on this podcast and even with the women and everyone you like coach or come to space with is that we need to take responsibility for what we're choosing to spend time with, put water on, engage with. So we're talking about this white piece of paper. You've written down your dream. Now, write one weed that you are watering that's going to keep you from fulfilling this like dreams that you wrote out and one flower in your life that you're going to start watering more.
Yes, I love that. And it's said differently, Archita, but what you were saying about watering the weeds, oh my gosh, repeat what you just said, because you said something I had thought I was like, oh my God, and then I lost it.
But these sessions, we create our own weeds, we drain ourselves and do garbage activities that feed the weeds sprouting in other places.
Yes.
And then we go and complain to our partners, oh my gosh, I can't believe, I'm talking about myself, ladies. Let me be really clear. I'm in the same spaces. This is the reality. We go through these cycles, but then we take action. And that's what I want you to do. Take action to stop feeding those weeds.
You have to take responsibility of the part you play in your own suffering.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
We all play the largest role in our own suffering because it's what we give our attention to. It's what we consume from. And I'm not just talking about physical food and nutrition. I'm talking about the crap that you listen to, the things that you look at. Our partners are sick of us complaining about the same crap and not taking action because they can't make different decisions for you. And if you find yourself in this death spiral or this loop, if you look up and you're like, oh my God, this one awful thing has happened to me 6 times, you gonna do something different? And are you gonna keep on the course? And I'm talking about myself. I'm talking about my girlfriends here, if they're listening. I'm talking about you guys too, right? It's like, how many times can you go through the same cycle, the same loop, learn the same lesson, and keep doing the same thing? Ladies. Yeah. With that said, Archita, I want to talk about this space. As everybody knows, I had this absolutely life-changing trip last year. That was the one thing that I did for myself. I went to Bali with a group of women. It was absolutely amazing. I had a life-changing experience. And during that trip, I was talking about my passion and coaching women, and I'm talking about the things that women struggle with, especially Black women. And it hit me and the group of women that I was with, oh my gosh, we need a space where we can breathe. We need a space free of microaggressions. We need a space surrounded by like-minded women with similar intersections going through the same thing. Because let's face it, ladies, the lean in advice, the Brene Browns and the Mel Robbins of the world, even though I love those ladies, that stuff will get you jacked up in the corporate world. Okay. As a woman of color, that advice doesn't work for all of us. And also there are cultural implications, right? As I did workshops last year, as I did coaching conversations with minority women last year, sometimes when you get the advice like about money, go ahead and talk about money, people shy away from it because it's like culturally, oh my God, if you talk about money, people think you're arrogant. It's taboo to talk about it. Ladies, if you don't talk about it, who benefits from that? So there are all these things that I think women of color and Black women need that are a little bit different than our majority sisters, right? And especially this year in the United States with what's happening in our political spheres, right? There's a lot of concern around DEI programs, around gender programs, around support for the LGBT plus communities. There's a lot of fear. I think if you're paying attention in the social media streets, Black women are kind of like, I'm taking a break. I'm done picking up and fighting everybody's battles. I'm taking a break. I got to take care of myself because the years of chronic stress have taken a toll on my mind, on my body, on my home life. And why? What do I have to show for all of this pain? So from that, this community was born. We're calling it My Sister's Shoulders. Because here's the thing, ladies, especially for women of color, we tend to try to go about life alone. We don't form these communities where we can support, thrive, and tackle some of these issues together. We tend to integrate in different spaces. This year, my passion project is this community where we can have women of color come in and take a collective breath with other sisters. And we can talk about how do we rest in an impactful way? How do we dream in an impactful way? How do we stop and get to know who we are, stripping away the titles that your work has given you, the titles that your family has given you? I'm talking about mom, wife, sister. Sure, those are your labels, but who are you really? Let's rediscover ourselves together and figure out how we thrive in authenticity instead of what we've been doing, which is fighting everybody else's causes. If you are passionate, if you're an ambitious woman of color, if you are sick and tired of going through the same cycles, if you are ready to take a collective breath and do some healing so that you can go on your own journey instead of being attached to someone else's, I encourage you to join us.
Yes, ladies, if you call yourself an ally, support a woman to join the community, to join this retreat. It is just amazing. We do not take time and space because we never saw our family do that. We never saw any of the women in our lives do that because they just kept moving. Life looks very different right now. The world has changed from when our parents were growing up. Now the world is so much more different and we need to take time and space. And I hear this, Olivia, from so many Black women and women of color. Like just yesterday, I was talking to one of my mentors, and she's this phenomenal Black woman based in the US. And she's actually like the conversation all of us Black and brown women are having today. And I was like, no, tell me what. And it was just this, right? We're all having these conversations every time we're like, oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted. I can't read this again. To your point earlier, we cannot be the reason for our own suffering. So I'm really excited. We're going to share the link in the show notes for the retreat that Olivia is curating in Florida. She has a very limited list of women that she's going to have in this community because she's really committed to making it a very safe space, right, Olivia? Share a little
Correct.
bit more about that retreat with everybody too.
The retreat will be in Safety Harbor, Florida. We are intentionally trying to create a space with the central focus of healing and rest. We're going to do it at a retreat built on a natural spring here in Florida that has been rumored to have healing properties. The spring, the spa is absolutely spectacular. We're going to create a very intimate environment. Think of it like a sister circle, right? Where we're going to come in. We're going to learn about ourselves. We're going to learn about our strengths. We're going to do some yoga. We're going to focus on meditation. We're going to focus on journaling. We're going to focus on those wellness patterns that a lot of us have not developed over time, right? Because we've just been stuck in the grind. So we're going to give you some tools for you to continue your healing in a different space. And then we're going to work on our dreams. We're going to do a structured type of event that's going to force you to dream big, to strip off all of those things that you're not. We're using the healing power of the water. Think tsunami to come in and take out anything that no longer serves you. That could be your nutrition. That could be your mindset around work. We're going to strip that all away. And then day 2, we're going to replace those things with healthy habits. We've got a guest, a holistic practitioner that's going to talk to us about mindset, moving our bodies, tricks we can do when we get overstimulated to regulate our nervous systems so we can stop living on anxiety mountain. And then we'll have some activities outdoor in nature, on the water, some yoga, some other things to really help us heal collectively. And then we have some really nice goodies for everyone as well. So leaving the retreat, you should feel rested, you should feel renewed, you should feel invigorated. And we want you to have a framework for what you want to do in your career, your big audacious goals, a framework for what you're going to do in your finances, big audacious goals. And then we'll provide you with resources should you need support along your journey. We'll provide you with resources even after you leave.
I love this, Olivia, because this is so needed. So if you're a Black woman, head on down to the link and sign up for the retreat. If you're a woman of color or a Black woman, head on down to the show notes, sign up for the community. And then if you don't identify as either, and you're someone who is committed to supporting the community of women of color and Black women, then go on and head over to that same link and see how you can make a contribution to help a woman be a part of the community or join the retreat itself. Ladies, we need everyone to take action to help each and every one of us step out of this sense of feeling overwhelmed, exhausted, and it's only January 10th.
And I would leave us with this, ladies. This is the turning point. If you are sick of your own nonsense and you are ready to do something different, come join us. This is the turning point.
Yes. And ask yourself this question, ladies, as we wrap up. We want to leave you with this. Don't feed your fear, which in our case is weeds. We're going to go feed our flowers. Commit to doing that today. We'll make it happen, ladies. We are going to be right along this journey with you as this episode kicks off season 7. Thank you so much for being in community with us on the Embracing Only podcast.
As always, ladies, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Until next time.